the executive vice president of Green Earth Fuels and one of the founders. We're one of the largest biodiesel producers in the country. I guess it's an honor to be here as one of the largest. 3 years ago, we called ourselves five guys in a fax machine. So small businesses can transcend, and I think this country is going to need that sort of innovation because we've got some challenges ahead, as you all pointed out. One of the differences about our biodiesel company is we're making significant investments in second generation or generation and a half feedstocks. We actually have a joint venture with targeted growth to commercialize this crop, camelina. We're investing enough capital to do about 1 million acres, hopefully by 2011. We're also building a model palm plantation in Guatemala. I call it a model palm plantation because we're preserving all the primary rainforest, providing about 4,000 jobs to the region, developing an independent growers program. So it brings jobs to the region, and it's a highly productive crop, and it can be done environmentally sensitively. The most interesting thing, thanks to Congress, we've gone as an industry from about 25 million gallons a year in 2004. You guys have passed a renewable fuel standard tax package. We're up to about 500 million gallons a year now, and the renewable fuel standard will take us to 1 billion. I think that's just a start, but it creates the marketplace that drives the investment to get to some of these next generation crops. So I appreciate your support, and I think we have a lot to do, and one of the most important pieces here is stability of policy, and that's something that's in grave question right now. Tax credits expiring, fuel standard being questioned, and I can tell you from sort of the financial community and the business community, it's devastating. And so we certainly look to you to provide the sort of leadership that's going to be long-term, and appreciate what the House has done on the proposed extension, but get to that in a bit. A little bit about camelina. Tom has given you a brief overview. One of the interesting things is it's a non-food crop, in part because it doesn't taste very good, but it grows best in marginal areas or as a rotation crop for wheat. So typically every third year you'd leave your acre of wheat fallow to let the soil regenerate. This fits in well nicely, kind of like the corn-soybean rotation has worked over time. So it fits in well. You're not competing for the wheat acres because it's not that profitable, but instead of leaving it fallow, you're using it. Or it's very low input, low water, so low fertilizer needs. So you can put marginal acres into use. There's another crop, jatropha. We're planting about 50 trial acres of that. We did a study in Texas to see how would this work in Texas. How could you do it? You know, again, utilizing marginal acres that we're not taking advantage of. Ironically, we found about 1 million acres of triangles on center pivots of land currently in production where the center pivot doesn't actually reach the corners. And there's 1 million acres of that. Camelina or jatropha could grow great in an area like that. Again, you're not competing with food crops. It's a low input crop, doesn't need the water. Huge potential there. Texas looked at, if we could do 500 million gallons in Texas, it'd be about a $22 billion industry and create 100,000 jobs in the state. So it's huge jobs. It's going to farmers. It's going to small businesses, small crushers, because biodiesel and a lot of these other technologies are great regional businesses. You've got Blue Ridge here. You see them pop up everywhere. I think we were just recently spoke at a conference in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and had the national labs there, a lot of leading experts in agriculture. Kind of the consensus of the day was there's a significant opportunity to do sustainable biofuels. Is it the complete answer? No, it's not the complete answer, but it certainly offers potential 5%, 10%. Algae comes along, maybe greater than that. So the leading experts think we can do it, and we just need sort of the commitment from our nation so we can continue to make these sorts of investments. And I guess I've referred to it a lot, but it is critical. Stability of policy, it really is what drives investments. The renewable fuel standard, I know, has been questioned recently. I urge you, the linkage, you question that, you question the marketplace, you scare investors, they pull out, they pull back their money, and it stops investments for 10 years. So when I started this business, we went to the investment community, and they're like, we've been burned on ethanol before. We don't even want to look at it. It was a huge hurdle to get over because policies had changed over time. So even though there's questions, I think Congress has done a great job in setting the policies. Stick with them because it's what really drives the next generation. The tax extender package, again, I applaud the House action on this. We're working with the Senate as hard as we can to try and get them to pass it. But already banks start pulling money out of my business because they're concerned it won't get extended. A retroactive fix doesn't work for the fuels industry. It's worked for wind, it won't work for us. So banks get scared, they pull their money back, which means I can't invest in Camelina, I can't invest in Tom Science. So it's critical that we get these things done and move early. You know, even if it doesn't expire until December, we have problems now. And invest in the research and development. Appreciate the time and look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr.